All right, happy Friday. I know the last one that I put out, I was pretty sick, and we're hoping that I am better now. We've been in Phoenix, Arizona, which has been fun. We have a new niece, and Kayla's gotten to see a lot of her family, and we've done a lot of business. But today's podcast, I've kind of been introduced to this interesting phenomenon that I've never really seen from this side, but I have been guilty of. And so what we're going to talk about today is what is productivity and what is work? Because I'm starting to realize that everyone thinks that work is something that you should not enjoy. Work is something that you should not have fun doing, because I was having a conversation with a family member. I'm not going to name names, but they were saying, well, you're just out there golfing. And yes, you know what? I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I've played a few rounds of golf, and it's been very fun. And they said, you've just been golfing, and I've been over here working and this, that, and the other. We just have basically very different lives. And that's when it occurred to me is, when did we get into this thing where work was supposed to not be fun? Because, and again, it's such a different perspective, because you've got to realize, what do you think goes on the golf course? Now, yes, you know what, there's some times where you talk about the shape of a shot, or what club you're going to pick, or what does this hole do, and so on and so forth. But when you're trapped on a cart with someone for 4.5 hours, there's a lot of philosophical things you talk about. There's a lot of business things that you talk about, and there's a lot of relationship and rapport building that gets done, as well as, I mean, when people say deals get made on the golf course, they're not kidding. I mean, you have this captive audience for 4 hours to listen to your ideas, and you get to listen to theirs, and everyone that I had the absolute pleasure and honor to golf with over this week were people who are so far ahead of me in business. I felt like I got an MBA in a week, which I think that that's a pretty good ROI. But from the outside looking in, everyone just goes, oh, well, you're playing a game, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 blah. Yes, we're playing a game, but you know what? I think that when people are trying to criticize that way of life or living or business networking or however you want to call it, I think it's just because, number one, they wish that their job allowed them to do something like that, and there is a little bit of jealousy going on. And the other thing is I think that people just plain don't understand what's going on. And hopefully I can give insight. We talk about this whole thing where I say, I think one of the things that's wrong with America is the fact that we are so addicted to agreement. I don't agree with what that guy does. I don't agree with what that person said. I don't agree with Democrats. I don't agree with Republicans. I don't agree with liberals. Whatever side of the fence you're on, or I guess in today's climate, whatever side of the wall you're on, it doesn't matter. Look at insight on why that is something that is important to that side. Try to understand it. You don't have to agree with it. I'm not saying agree with it. But because someone has their perspective and they live inside of their world and themselves, that is the thing they agree with most of the time. And what I've learned is I will get chastised or criticized because people just plain don't understand what I'm trying to get accomplished. And then there are many things that come from me going off and networking and being a businessman all the time. I don't care if I'm at dinner. I don't care if I'm on a golf course. I don't care if I'm at the club, which, I mean, that happens very rarely. But I'm always carrying my business with me. I want to talk about business. I want to talk about what I'm up to. I want to talk about what you're up to. I want to talk about what we can do together. I want to talk about ways that I can help you. I want to talk about ways that you can help me. I'm always looking for insight to be better. I'm always looking for an opportunity. And if you go into these weekends going, I just need to let everything go and decompress. I think decompression for most people, I mean, with the exception of pretty clear jobs, like really high-level government jobs, soldiers certainly. But, I mean, do you need to decompress from a long day? You know what? Maybe, maybe not. But it doesn't take 4 hours of sitting on your butt to decompress. I mean, you can do it in 30 minutes. And so I think that people get addicted to these excuses. And then while you're sitting on your butt, if there's someone out golfing, oh, well, he doesn't do anything all day. I mean, just think about how silly that sounds. Usually there's a foursome. So you've got 3 other people who probably own businesses or are doing something in business or have a business, work for someone, this, that, and the other. And there's an opportunity to make a deal. There's an opportunity to create a relationship. And I can't tell you how many times I've built a relationship with someone that paid off for me in a way that I had no idea 4 or 5 years later. So the thing is also when you're going into opportunities, focus on the relationship, focus on the rapport, focus on building a deep and meaningful connection, because those are getting more few and far between in today's climate, because everybody has the horizon syndrome. If I could just have this, my life would be better. If I could just make this much money, my life would be better. If this problem was gone, my life would be better. The fact of the matter is once you get to that horizon, another something pops up. It's just the way life works. So the horizon syndrome is just a different illustration of the peaks and valleys of life. So stop saying that. Stop saying if I could just get to this moment or this destination. I mean, when I was a little boy, a lot of the times I would say, if I could just get to Christmas, oh God, it would be so good. But then, like, what do you do after Christmas? You wait until you can get presents again, or whatever. So I want to illustrate the horizon syndrome, and you don't want to live your life that way, but also understand that you are a walking billboard of yourself. You are an advertisement of yourself, and you can make an impact for you better than anybody else. You can't wait for someone else to do it. One of the great things that I have really started to live by, that I really love, and I think that if you could take it with you, it would probably help out a lot. But always be happy with what you have, but never with who you are. Always be happy with what you have, but never with who you are. Because the thing is if you become more, having's a byproduct. It's going to happen. But you can't focus on that. And so understand when you're going through life, whether you're at the club, whether you're at your job, whether you're at the golf course, whether you're at walking Starbucks, going through a store, paying your bills on the phone, you are always making a brand name for who you are. Now ask yourself, what is the brand that I have been representing? And I've done a lot of brand fixing. I mean, I've really focused on becoming more in my life and in myself, and I had to focus on myself. So then everyone, oh, well, you're just selfish. You're only focusing on yourself. Well, if I become more, I can do more. And if I can do more, I can really help a lot more people if I'm able to do more. So the thing is try to focus on insight and not agreement. You may not agree, oh, that person spends too much time playing tennis. They spend too much time golfing. They spend too much time reading books. I mean, that would be weird. But still, people have said it to me. Oh, you spend too much time on personal development. No, I'm really trying to develop my person. I'm really trying to be better. I'm really trying to make a difference in my life, because I'm a hard-headed person. I'm very stubborn. So I know if I can make a difference in my life, I can absolutely make a difference in the lives of others. And so, kind of moral of the story, I know I'm kind of going down 2 paths right here, but I just want you to understand that work doesn't have to be hard. And so many people, if people are having fun or people are like, oh, you're slacking off, or you're a jokester, oh, you this, oh, you that. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has an opinion. So when you're going into Friday, however you want to spend it, whether it's working out, I mean, a gym, there's another thing. Like a gym and golf are basically the exact same thing. Because, I mean, you are doing a very physical activity on the golf course. You're networking in the gym. I mean, there's so many people that I have met that have done cool business deals. They've met amazing people at the gym. It's an amazing thing because if you look at it, you're trying to make yourself better. So stop trying to get people to live how you are. Again, and maybe you're saying, well, Greg, like I'm listening to this podcast. It sounds like you're trying to get me to live a certain way. No, I'm giving you options. I think that's another thing. So again, understand that work doesn't always look like work. That's kind of the number one overarching thing. Work doesn't always look like work. I don't want you to look at other people and criticize them and say, oh, well, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're in the middle of. I mean, I had the opportunity to golf with people who can literally change my life many times over, and in so many respects already have because of the insight and the wisdom that they were able to give me because they've made mistakes that I was about to make, or they were able to steer me in a different direction or give me opportunities. So work doesn't always look like work, okay? The other thing is I want you to look for insight and not agreement. I'm just giving you an insight on who I am, and I'm giving you an insight on why I go about things a certain way, why I do certain things. I'm just trying to give you insight. You don't have to agree with everything. In fact, if you agree with everything, that might be a little weird. Or maybe we're just on the same frequency, that's super awesome. So the thing is you don't have to agree. So if you don't agree with someone, that doesn't mean you should hate them, okay? The other thing is, I want you to start looking for options, not answers. And that goes a little bit along with the insight, not agreement thing. But you know what? The way that I've lived my life and the things that I've done, the books that I've read, the actions that I've taken, those are just some options. But I'm built differently. Maybe those options don't work for you, but maybe some of them do. So look for a different way. And I'll illustrate it in this way, and then we'll get out of here, I promise. I don't like to make super long podcasts. I just want you to get in, get out, get some wisdom, get out and apply it. But I was having to help some of my students, and they had gotten into this big fight, and we were on this trip in Phoenix. And I know, I'm in Phoenix telling this story. I guess it's meant to be. But this was last summer. We're there, and some students break out into a big disagreement. And so I have everyone in a room, and I looked at Kayla, and I said, you know what, how did we get to Phoenix? And she said, well, we drove. And I said, well, yeah, but what way did we take? And she says, okay, well, we drove, and we went through Utah. I said, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So I looked at Zach and Ashley, and I said, how did you get here? And they said, well, we drove. And I said, but what way did you take? Well, we drove through New Mexico. I said, that's interesting. And then I asked the students, I said, how did you get here? And they said, well, we flew. And I said, wow, this is interesting. And they said, what do you mean? I said, okay, we all took different paths, and yet we're all sitting in the same room. That's because we had different options. We had different reasons. We had different time commitments. We had different things that we needed to bring. Understand that people are different. You don't have to agree with them. Understand that people are different, and some people need to take a different road. Some people need to take the easy road. Some people need to take the road less traveled. And if you don't agree with it, it doesn't matter. Just try to understand insight on why they took that road. And I think that you're going to be able to connect with people in a much better and different way, because something's got to change in this world. I think we can all agree with that. So without further ado, I'm going to wrap it up. But remember, look for insight, not agreement. Ask for options, not answers. And please stop chastising people on how they try to get their work done. Because honestly, if you could have fun working, would you not choose to have fun? So let's try to have as much fun in life as possible. I am convinced that fun is the meaning of life. Fun is the secret of life. Yes, you have to have discipline, and yes, you have to have a purpose. But I think if you find your purpose, you find your passion, you have discipline, becoming someone with all of those qualities that is down inside of you is an absolute joy, and it is fun to become that person. So, without further ado, I'm going to let you get to your Friday. Thank you so much for listening to the Final Percent Podcast, and we are going to see you Monday morning. Thanks again.